Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 292 of the MTGGoldfish podcast. I'm Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and we have the full crew here this week, kicking things off with the owner of MTGGoldfish, Richard. What's up this fine Monday, Richard?
Hey Seth, everything's going well. My sky is like almost blue again, so yeah.
Oh, that's good. Is the air getting a little bit better out there? Can finally breathe again and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's getting better. It's been kind of like moist and I don't know, it seems okay, although today is kind of gloomy, so I can't tell, but it's gotten better.
Well, that's good to hear that things are improving. And of course, we have another co-host. And Krim, how is the air out where you are, Krim? Is it getting better there as well?
Yeah. Like Richard had mentioned, you can actually almost see through the all the smoke and all that other stuff, so you can kind of see the sky now. And the air doesn't burn my eyes as I walk around outside.
Well, that is probably a good thing.
Always
air
a
not
positive.
burning your eyes sounds like a positive.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good positive.
So today, it's Zendikar Day on the cast, essentially. There wasn't a ton that went down in the Magic world this week, so we're going to spend pretty much the whole cast talking about some new spoiler cards. We got a couple of early spoilers from Zendikar Rising, and we have this big list of hints that Mark Rosewater gave out. Tomorrow is the official start of spoiler season, but we want to go over Mark Rosewater's hints, see if we could figure out maybe what he was talking about. We thought that would be fun. And then, of course, answer some fish mail. But before we get to Zendikar Rising, but first, a word from our sponsor. Tigtone returns with Season 2. Tigtone and his magically regenerative sidekick, Helpy, face down all new mischievous monsters and enchanted chaos on their all-new baffling adventures. Tigtone is created by Andrew Koehler and Benjamin Martian, who serve as executive producers with Blake Anderson of Workaholics. The wizards at Titmouse Animation have created a Tigtone universe that is beautifully unsettling. You can watch Tigtone Season 2 when it premieres with back-to-back episodes on Sunday, September 13th at midnight, only on Adult Swim. So thank you so much to Tigtone for supporting the podcast today. And let's talk some Zendikar Rising. Let's kick things off, I think, with the two spoiler cards we actually got. We're in the infancy of Zendikar Rising spoilers. Official start tomorrow. Couple early spoilers. Thankfully, they're interesting ones. Richard, why don't you guide us through our spoiler cards?
You know what I love? When Wizards gives us a date for preview season and then just randomly drops Chase Mythics before that.
Yeah, that has become a tradition, I think. That's been happening the last few sets. But at least it gives us something to talk about.
We have Jace, Mirror Mage, and Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients. So 2 mythic planeswalkers. Jace comes in at 3 CMC, 1 blue, 4 starting loyalty. Legendary planeswalker Jace. Kicker 2. So yes, we have kicker now. When Jace enters the battlefield, if Jace was kicked, create a token that's a copy of Jace Mirror Mage, except it's not legendary, and its starting loyalty is 1. +1 scry 2. 0, draw a card and reveal it. Remove a number of loyalty counters equal to the card's converted mana cost from Jace Mirror Mage. Jace is Dark Confidant now.
I don't know. Is this good? I like it, but I just don't know if it's good. It's not I don't know if this is enough to work out of a control shell, but it looks kind of like a I don't know, something that'd be fun in a tempo deck or something like that.
This is a really unique planeswalker. And I mean, I gotta say, number one, do you remember when a couple years ago, I don't even remember, maybe Battle for Zendikar era, actually, we were kind of making fun of Wizards. I think it was Obnixilis was the worst example of this, about how planeswalkers had gotten so cookie cutter. It was always plus draw a card, minus kill something, ultimate win the game in one way or another eventually. I really appreciate that they're doing very different things with this Jace. The kicker, the self-copying, it's a really neat planeswalker. Is it a good planeswalker? Boy, that's really tough for me to say. I feel like it's probably very good against control decks or other threat light decks. If this can sit out on the battlefield, especially if you can kick it, because then you could do sweet shenanigans where you use your 1 loyalty token copy of Jace to plus to set up your draws. So hopefully you're drawing a land or something cheap, so you're not losing too much loyalty from your other Jace, and then you're gonna have an insane amount of card advantage. On the other hand, against mono red or any sort of like mid-rangey questing beast aggressive deck, I feel like you just play this and it basically dies. I guess worst case, you kick it for 5 mana and you immediately just zero both of them and you draw 2. But that's not even very exciting for 5 mana. So the lack of any sort of ability to protect itself is a little bit of a concern to me. So I feel like maybe it's a sideboard card that your like tempo deck or even control deck can bring in to like win the control mirror, where I feel like this is probably just absurd against control decks. But other matchups, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's kind of like the way I feel about it so far. It's just like, I do like it. Like you had mentioned, it is a very sweet, like a cool and like very interesting like designed planeswalker, but like, I don't know, like I just, the fact that it doesn't like bounce anything or you know, I mean, I know I didn't expect it to be 3 fairy, but like the thing here is like it just doesn't do anything to the board. That's kind of the issue for me right now.
Are we spoiled by War of the Spark Planeswalkers? Is the bustedness of War of the Spark Planeswalkers going to like make us think every Planeswalker that is not the most busted card all the way back to Vintage is just not good anymore? Like, is that the downside of how good some of those Planeswalkers were?
I mean, like, I guess, yeah, like some of those Planeswalkers did do a lot, and that we are still adjusting to the power level of that, right? And I mean, this does give me hope though, because remember how like last couple of podcasts we talked about like how it would be sweet if they actually did dial back on the power level of some of the cards, right? And I mean, like, especially when it comes, I'm sure right now when it comes to Planeswalker, I'm sure people actually want to see the power level dialed back. And with that, I mean, this does seem like it has, right? I mean, it's not ridiculously broken. It's a 3 mana Planeswalker, which, you know, I feel like for a 3 mana Planeswalker, though, it's, for the last couple of years, it's been kind of hard, right? You have to do some silly things. So we are used to a higher power level.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Krim. I think this is a great card in the fact that it's just a role player in Standard. Like, I think, you know, this is not a card you shove into every deck from Standard all the way back to Vintage. Like Oko or 3 Fairy, but we can't complain about the power level of Standard and then say like every card is trash afterwards, right? So I like the fact that there's a point to this card. Like Seth said, you sneak it in like a control mirror and then you go nuts. But you know, it's not format warping. It's still pretty strong, right? It's like 3 mana goes to 5 loyalty if you plus. Like it's not quite Oko, but it still has some toughness to it. And it scales slightly in the late game. 5 mana, draw 2, right? Maybe draw more than 2 if you're lucky. I would have liked to see multi-kicker on this. Like, you know, your reward is to go to like 7, draw 3.
That would be so sweet.
That's not, you know, that's not horrendously broken, right? Like, why not multi-kicker? But I think this is cool and it's pretty unique, right? Like Seth said, we always complain about the Obnix list template. Even Krim was lamenting that it didn't bounce something like 3 Fairy. But like, hey, it makes like clones of itself. It's the mirror mage, right? So I actually like it. I wonder what like the average number of cards you could expect to draw if you just like play this and like 0 all the way through. Like, what's the CMC of a Standard deck nowadays?
I mean,
it's at
so
least
the good
2,
news is,
right? Maybe 3.
I feel like with Zendikar, who knows? But I think right now it feels like 3 or 4.
I mean, at the same time, though, a lot of decks are up to like 28, 29, 31 lands. So if you're playing one of those ramp decks that's like more than half lands, you get a 50-50 shot of like not losing any loyalty.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you also have that scry too. So I guess like if it's an empty board, you scry too. You can definitely like zero a decent amount of times, or at least know what you're zeroing into.
Yeah, it reminds me, I think the best comparison, and it's not the perfect comparison, is Nissa Steward of Elements that actually has like kind of a similar setup where the plus is a scry 2, and then the minus lets you put a land or I think a creature with converted mana cost equal to or lesser than her loyalty onto the battlefield. So the way you like play that Nissa is you basically like scry, set up the card that you don't want with your Nissa on the top, and then put your land or whatever you can hit with Nissa on the bottom. So I kind of feel like maybe Jace is a little bit better than we give it credit for, because you just like play it, scry 2 up to 5 loyalty, stack a good card on top of your deck, a land next, then you can 0 Jace the next turn, get the land for free, not lose any loyalty. So I think if it sticks around, it is a very powerful card advantage engine, and if you play the like plus and minus off of each other pretty effectively, then I think you can actually draw a lot of cards of it. My concern is just like, you play this and you like scry 2, and then your opponent like questing beasts, or they have a board full of like random dorks and attack it, because it doesn't do anything to protect itself. Like, it is all in on you protecting it with other cards.
Hey, you survive a questing beast, you go to 5 loyalty. It goes back to 1. If you kicked it, you get 2 activations next turn, right? You get like 4 activations. Actually, no, I guess the 1 loyalty one dies, the questing beast.
Yeah.
But that's 3 activations still, right? So it still has like a bit of toughness to it. It's still 5 toughness when it comes down.
It should go up to 6.
It should go up to 6 and make
a plus 2 instead of
make make food tokens. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think about some sort of like the mono blue shell that is like in Historic and Pioneer a little bit? It was a big thing in Standard with Curious Obsession. Like, do you think that's the way to play this, or do you think it's like purely a like play it in the sideboard, bring it in the control matchups where it's not going to get attacked too much?
As of right now, with like how much we know about Zendikar, it feels like something I would bring in out of the sideboard. As of right now, maybe like I don't know. I mean, like that's the best thing I can think of right now.
Yeah, I consider it like a painful truth. I was gonna say divination, but I think it's slightly better than divination. Like, would you play painful truths in your mono blue deck, assuming you could cast it and draw 3 cards? And the answer is most likely no. Would you play it in your mid-range deck or your control deck? Probably. So if you're trying to sit there and grind out advantage, but I think like tempo decks probably want to get in there and finish the game rather than sit there and plus Jaces and mess around and get crushed by a much larger planeswalker. So yeah. Next card we have Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients. Nahiri is still Boros, 4 CMC, 2 red and a white, 4 starting loyalty. +1, create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token. You may attach an equipment you control to it. -2, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a warrior or equipment card from them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. -3, Nahiri deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment you control.
I think this is better. But of course, it is a 4-mana planeswalker. So for a 4-mana planeswalker, I guess this is okay. I once again, yeah, we just gotta wait and see what the rest of the set does. But like, it's no War of the Spark planeswalker. I like the equipment clause. I just think, doesn't Colossus Hammer rotate?
Colossus Hammer does rotate, and I think that hits out a really good point. I think Nahiri is actually really strong. I think it's if you just look at the abilities, you got the plus that is actually exactly the same, I believe, as the commander deck version that you can play as your commander. Unfortunately, there's no like Skull Clamp in Standard to combo with, but still, you make a token to defend itself, get to equip for free. The negative generates card advantage. The ultimate is reasonable removal in a deck that is going to be playing Nahiri. I think the problem with Nahiri I have is the stuff that Nahiri cares about and is good at isn't stuff that's necessarily good in Standard. Like, so I think it's leaning really heavily on Zendikar having good equipment and warriors, because I actually like look through current Standard, like cards that are going to be there from Throne of Eldraine, Theros Beyond Death, all those sets. There's not much. You have like Embercleave, I guess, and then Shadow Sphere are like kind of playable equipments, and then it's pretty janky. There's a couple like random warriors, but nothing like, I think Rada's a warrior, but there's nothing like super exciting to build warrior tribal. So I think that's the question, like how many good equipments and good warriors are we going to get? Because in a deck with a bunch of warriors and equipment, I feel like Nahiri's actually a really strong card. She's really powerful, but narrow in the decks that can actually take advantage of her power.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing. Like, I mean, okay, like getting an Embercleave is great, but yeah, like, will there be like an equipment deck? I mean, that would be pretty cool, right? I don't think we've had a good Boros deck in a minute in standard.
I don't think we've ever had a good equipment deck aside from a Stoneforge deck, right? Because the play pattern is not good, right? Like, if you have 3 equipment in your starting hand, your opponent removes your 1 creature and like you do nothing, right? So typically when you play equipment, you have like 1 good equipment, like say a sword or a Batterskull, and like that's it, right? In which case Nahiri kind of sucks. Like, you know, can you imagine Nahiri and Embercleave deck? Like, why? Like, what are you doing, right? Nothing, right? You actually want to have like Cauldra or something on the battlefield, right? And then you swing it with Nahiri, but you just don't do that in Constructed. So I think Nahiri is just gonna be a commander card, right? Like if you are playing Boros equipment, here you go. But standard, we never really play equipment, and then when we actually have busted equipment, we have like 1 piece of equipment. That's it, and you know, -3 deal 1 damage to something is not very enticing. So
whoa.
Well,
twice.
Double 1 damage.
Yeah.
Twice. I'm
So
sorry,
2
2
damage.
Well, you try to build Bogles. You try to build Voltron, which never like really actually happens in standard. I can't think of any time we've put like 2 equipment on like 1 creature in standard.
I actually think it's really good. I think that maybe we're sleeping. I feel like equipment has been trending in the right direction.
What's the equipment we're gonna attach? Blackblade Reforged is like the best one I can think of, but
that's gonna rotate, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Zendikar. Wait and see what we get in Zendikar. Like, I feel like we've seen Wizards putting better equipment over the past year, and I feel like Zendikar has historically had a theme of equipment with, like, I don't know, all the random, like, common equipments that were in the original Zendikar, like, Expedition Map, Explorer Scope, all that kind of stuff. So I think that we're going to have a equipment theme in Zendikar, and that there's going to be some good equipment. Will that make an equipment deck, like, top tier in Standard? I don't know, but I think obviously we got to wait and see, but I would be surprised if Nahiri is bad after we see all that's in Zendikar.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait it out and see what comes with Zendikar, but Richard is right though. Like, I mean, I feel like most of the equipment stuff, like example, like an Embercleave deck probably doesn't need a 4-mana Planeswalker. It's probably hitting you with a bunch of little red creatures, right? Or something along those lines. So I don't know. We'll see with Nahiri.
So those are the 2 cards we have. We also have the full art promo versions of them, so you can check them out on the site mtgpreviews.com. Previews start in earnest tomorrow, so we'll actually get a new dose of standard. Rotation is happening, so it's going to be brand new standard, exciting times, and then 2 planeswalkers already, and power level seems good. I think they haven't gone off the walls crazy yet, but we'll see what equipment they're going to sell packs with. Hopefully not more Embercleaves. Hopefully something like Shadow Spear or something, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, there's a stream, I believe, at 11 a.m. tomorrow to kind of kick things off. So that'll be our big first look. I'm actually really hyped. I think Zendikar is going to be sweet. And in all honesty, I was a little relieved to see these Planeswalkers be unique, but kind of like narrow and not super broken. After the last like year and a half of War of the Spark, I am perfectly fine. And also Oko, I guess, to some extent, but I would be perfectly fine with the Zendikar players being kind of like niche role players rather than, you know, format all-stars that are showing up in every deck. I think some of my favorite Planeswalkers are Planeswalkers that are very powerful, but like Nahiri, very narrow, so every deck can't play them. I think the problem that we run into is Planeswalkers that are really powerful and not narrow. Then you have Okos into fairies that are just showing up in like 50+% of decks, and then that's not really fun for everyone. I think like having cards at Oko's power level, but that can only go in equipment deck, I'm perfectly fine with stuff like that. I think like that's kind of where I would like Planeswalkers to be.
Yeah, I would also like to see. I mean, and thankfully there's no mana doubling yet. But we haven't seen the Nissa
We've seen
yet.
We've seen 2 cards.
Wait till you see Lotus Cobra reincarnated as a Planeswalker.
Like Lotus Cobra without fetch lands, I think I could live with. It's just like I'm very nervous for this new Nissa. Like I am genuinely afraid.
Wait, do we know if Nissa's in the set or not?
She's on the booster pack.
We do know.
Oh, she's on the booster pack? Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I am like very scared. But you know what? I have a little bit of hope that there's going to be some balance to these planeswalkers. So, like, whatever. We'll just wait and see. But, like, I'm going to slightly sweat it until I see that Nissa's revealed.
Well, I mean, we'll know more for sure tomorrow, but for today, let's do some speculating. So a couple of days ago, I think it was on the WotC stream last week, they had Mark Rosewater on, and he did his traditional hints for the set, and it's always fun to kind of go over them, see if you can kind of figure out what he might be talking about. They're pretty cryptic, but also interesting. So, Richard, why don't you kind of give us some of these hints, and then we can see if we can figure out maybe what card or what kind of card he might be talking about.
All right. First up, we have a white creature that can make an opponent lose the game simply by attacking them, no matter how much life they have.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some ridiculous drawback, but you know what? If it's in white, that sounds kind of cool, right? Like a Master of Cruelties or maybe even a Phage style card, but in white. That's interesting, right? I like it. I hope it's not like Infect or something ridiculously broken, but like
I think people actually asked about Infect and they confirmed that it's not Infect. So we know in specific it's not Infect, but beyond that, it is up for debate. I think, so how could they possibly word this card? Obviously, even at a high mana cost, I think that just when this attacks, defending player loses the game, or even when this deals combat damage, defending player loses the game, probably too strong. So I feel like it's got to have...
That's totally not white, though, right?
It's definitely not white to see something worded like that, but if it were worded like that, I bet you this card's like 9 mana or something like that, and it's a 1/1.
And then you can you can sneak it in for 1 mana and standard is broken.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, right? Like, I mean,
so I was gonna say it's something like if you have like more than 15 life than your opponent, but then this says like no matter how much life they have, so it can't be that condition. It's gotta be what is a white condition? They have more creatures than you, more
enchantments,
planeswalkers,
artifacts, or something like that.
Yeah. Like for every permanent type, if they have more than you, they lose.
Yeah.
I wonder, we were just talking about Nahiri. Do you think it could be equipment based?
Like, if they have no equipment, they lose.
Yeah.
Well, no.
I could
if
see
you
that,
have, or like, because Nahiri cares about you having equipment. Maybe it's like when this deals combat damage, if you control 5 or more equipment or something, that player dies. Like, it gives it super ultra death touch if you get enough equipment on the battlefield.
What if it's just like if your opponent doesn't have any equipment, they lose the game?
That's probably, that would probably make equipment more playable.
Yeah. What if your opponent has more lands than you? They lose the game.
Oh, I would love that. Yes.
Your opponent has a card named Uro on the battlefield or in their graveyard.
There would finally be some kind of like something that ramp decks would fear for ramping. If you have more lands than they have more lands than you, they lose the game. Yes.
I do like that the opponent loses the game and you don't win the game. I like the idea of like you're like a white knight or something. You're just smiting someone down from like infinite life. I do like that. And I do like that this theoretically triggers in Commander. So if someone goes infinite life, you're like, whatever, right? Here we go. I can kill you without commander damage using this thing, whatever it is. So it is cool. I like the flavor of it. We'll see how it actually pans out. Hopefully it's not so convoluted. Like if this is the 8th creature you've cast this turn or something, and they're all ones
above 70 degrees outside. And depending on how warped a single card of yours is.
If your opponent's deck contains any cards more warped than yours, they lose the game. All right, next up, we have a multicolored creature that lets you repeatedly reanimate permanents out of your opponent's graveyard for no mana.
This is gonna definitely be it's definitely a terrifying thing to read up front, but it's probably gonna be like something like a land.
Wait, what?
I mean, like you can reanimate a land or something like that. And I mean, because technically you could repeatedly
I
do
think
it.
it's actually like, permanence. I don't think they would say permanence when it was actually lands.
Well, it'll be like permanent with like CMC, like 0 or less.
No, I feel like you take it at face value. It's actually just permanence. Except
That's
this will have a steep
my
casting
thought.
cost or something, right? Like they'll be like, "Oh, this was never doable," like Underworld Breach or something, right?
But repeatedly, like
So, well,
for no mana.
I mean, so picture this. What I was thinking, do you know Debtor's Knell from Guild Pack? It's like 7 mana Orzhov enchantment.
Yeah.
That's like,
I know
beginning
that.
of your upkeep, you get to reanimate a creature. Like, couldn't you have a 7 mana Orzhov creature that was like, at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to reanimate a permanent from your opponent's graveyard or something like that? Like, would that count as repeatedly? Or do you think because it can't just be like, oh, this hits it can't be like Scavenging Ooze or something where it's like, oh, 0 mana, put a permanent from your opponent's graveyard into play. Like, that would not be good. But if it's once a turn
right?
and it's
It
expensive.
could be. It would
Rise
just
of the
be in
Dark
green.
Realms or whatever.
It would just
right?
be in green. Whatever we're talking about, it's got to be in, like green and X.
Or sorry,
It's
Command the
Civic.
Dreadhorde.
It's Civic.
No life. I mean, no mana, but costs you life. So it could be something like that.
Ooh.
It could be like once a turn.
Or maybe you have to exile so many cards from your opponent's graveyard to be able to put one into play.
What if there's
That would like naturally keep it in check.
Yeah.
What if there's something like card types, a little bit of that Tarmogoyf. Like if you have, I don't know, 3 or 4 card types, it can reanimate.
Yeah.
Or if you have to have at least 5 equipment on the
Or
battlefield.
5.
to activate it.
Okay, all right.
And
it's
that's
in
going to be my
Boros.
prediction for every.
And it's in
for all of
Boros.
these, yeah.
All right. Next up, 3 creatures with 5 creature types, not changeling. So human, warrior, ally. That's 3.
Equipment. Equipment creature.
So there's got to be like some
Demons.
dual species creature that would put you at 4. What else could it be? Like a double class, like a merfolk, a human merfolk, cleric, wizard, ally.
Eldrazi.
I mean,
Meld is back.
yeah. Ally's a good guess. We'll see. Do we know what the main tribes are? I know we've heard rumors about like clerics and demons being part of it.
Yes.
A demon cleric
Maybe
ally.
If there's like 5 main tribes, maybe it's just all those tribes. So like a grizzly bear that has every major tribes type, so you can play it in any deck and limited or something.
Could be a zombie.
mean,
something that's like stitched together from like 4 different
Oh,
types.
vampires maybe. Yeah.
I mean, we see shapeshifter rogue, right? Like as something. So like, I don't know. I just hope there's more rogues because I've been on a serious Thieves Guild enforcer like binge.
What do you think about a creature having 5 types? Like, discounting what those types are. Like, I don't think there's any way we were going to guess it. Like, is that too much? At what point, like, how many creature types can you put out a creature before it's just over? Are they going to have to, like, add a second line to the type line to just, like, put in more creature types in the future?
Yeah, I feel it should be a flavor reason. If it's not a flavor reason, I think it's pretty like dumb. Like the type is supposed to extract its essence or something, right? Like if you have 5 different types, you can choose the 2 most important or whatever, and that's your type. So having 5 for no reason is weird, but I feel like there is a flavor reason for having 5 here. So
Aren't there hedrons or whatever on this plane? Like we see it on like some of the stuff, right? The artwork and whatnot. So like, doesn't that mean there's something inside it?
Yo, real talk, I don't know what a hedron is. Like I know it's those things from Zendikar, but like what is it?
I've aligned them, but I don't know what they are.
Does it hold mana or something? Does it hold creatures? Like I don't know what it is.
I mean, I'm not a lore person, so I'm not entirely sure what like if they held like Eldrazi in them, but I think that's what was encased in like in the hedron like stuff.
Wait, they didn't exist before Battle for Zendikar? They didn't exist on the original Zendikar?
They
No,
did.
Hedron Archive was from original Zendikar, wasn't it?
Wait, is the story like there's been Eldrazi since the beginning and they've just been like sleeping there?
Or Dreamstone Hedron was the Zendikar one. Yeah, I don't think it's Eldrazi. But should we just Google this? Should we look this up so we don't look like...
No, it's better if we just make wild
is a
speculations
hedron?
about this.
What is a Hedron? MTG.
Well,
I'm looking it up now.
They're in MTG like since Zendikar, right? Because like Eldrazi Temple or whatever had it, and like you know the full art lands, you could see them just always floating in the skies.
Okay, so the Hedrons were used to imprison the Eldrazi, but
Yep.
Eldrazi were not in them.
Or
they were
yeah,
like
sorry.
around them. Yeah, so it's
Yes.
not like Eldrazi live in them, but they are ancient stone monoliths found on Zendikar, and when properly aligned, they become powerful tools of binding. So you align them, and then you trap the Eldrazi or whatever.
Okay. Well, there you go. But what if now those opened up?
And
And
Oko
there's
pops out.
and Okos and like Emrakul the Promised End. Surprise, spaghetti monsters are back.
All right. Next, we have an artifact granting +2/+2 to a subset of creatures that first appeared in Alpha. What the heck's a subset of creatures?
So I assume it's
Jackal
It's
pup?
like a tribe.
Like
no,
it's got to be like a like why would they just say tribe? Like why would they say subset of creatures?
I don't remember. This was from a live stream, so it was not like a written article. They were just kind of talking live. So maybe that's just how they happen to say it. So my guess is it's a tribe, but it is a weird way to say that.
I mean,
But what alpha creatures would be in Zendikar? I'm trying to think like what creature
Goblins.
types carry over.
goblins,
That's a good guess.
pirate ship,
Vampires.
I feel like it's got to be something that's in Alpha and like
Ship.
has never been seen again.
a ship.
Ooh,
I mean, because we had pirate ship, right?
yeah. Oh, it could be clerics. There were clerics in Alpha, right?
I think no, wait, that was a wizard. I was gonna say prodigal sorcerer, but like I guess that's
How about hero? We have Banalish hero, cockatrice, fungusaur, shades, forces.
There's some lions.
ship. I'm gonna you know what? I'm on board with ship.
There was
We
no
need a
ship in Alpha though.
Was pirate ship not in alpha?
I feel that was Legends or something.
It was.
It was Alpha.
It actually was originally in Alpha, yeah.
Okay, then yes, the dream is still alive. Ship.
Oh, this is a different ship. I was thinking of the Demir ship. Pirate ship is mono blue.
Oh, skeleton ship was Ice
Yeah,
Age,
yeah.
I think, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
how about
yeah.
rock?
I mean-
we haven't had rocks in a while since like Wingmate Rock or something.
I mean,
That's true.
that was a bird, but
Oh, skeleton.
oh,
Grudge
you
skeleton.
mean like
Troll?
ROC, not like a literal ROCK rock.
I mean,
I don't even know
I
if
bet it's
that's-
actually goblins or
There's
something.
no way.
I-
That
I-
would be the stupidest thing. Like, goblins is like one of the most popular tribes. Like, why would this clue be so obscure?
I'm telling
I mean,
you,
maybe-
it's ship. That's it. At this point, we're all in. I'm right. Like, there is no other type from Alpha that matters because
Doppelganger. Maybe the theme of the set is doubling everything that Jace, since Jace. So we're gonna go doppelgangers.
Oh no! Please, not more doubling. No.
Double your mana. That's part of it.
No, no more, please.
All right. X being used for a variable is never been used before.
I cannot
What has
figure
X
this
never
one
been
out.
used for?
Yeah, that's so. My first thought was, oh, it's probably kicker, but then I realized X has definitely been used on kicker a bunch of times, at least several times. It's been mana costs, power and toughness. What else is there? Like, what else can you X X life?
Cards left in library.
No, that exists.
There's X cards left in library?
Doesn't there? Like, no. Actually, that's equal to number of. Let me see here. Isn't there with the enchantment from Amonkhet or Fraying Sanity? Yeah, like at the beginning of where X is number. Oh no, that's X Mills X cards, where X is the number of cards put into their graveyard from anywhere this turn.
X is the number of players in the game?
That
Ooh.
doesn't that also already?
Would they put that in a standard set though?
I don't know. Just like
That
they
would be
put cards that say
interesting.
one or more opponents in standards because they want to sell commander cards in standard.
That like is pretty directly seems like a multiplayer card though. That seems more like a Commander Legends thing. But I like that idea. That's a good guess. I don't know. That's a tough one. It feels like X has been used for most things already. That's what makes it hard. It kind of amazes me that there's something that hasn't been X'd yet after 27 years of Magic.
Maybe it's like one of those like equals. No, but then.
I really hope it's unique and it's not something like they've used, equal to the number of something before, and technically it was an X. So I hope it's not one of those things, and I hope it's actually like We're uniquely counting something we've never counted before. Okay, a 6/6 artifact creature that costs 3, and a 7/5 artifact creature that can cost 3. Do you think it's? Do you think
Mirror.
a 3 mana is just straight up 6/6 artifact creature?
It's a mirror.
thing?
It's got to be mirrors, right? Like there's the mirror Titan thing before, right? The 5/5 mirror in the was that not in this set of the first Zendikar? It was maybe a Mirrodin block.
I think it was Mirrodin. Yeah, I think it was the Scars of Mirrodin is where that one came from. I think that it's got to be something like that, though. I don't think there's any way. Even with the power creep in the last couple of years, I don't think we're to the point where you just get a colorless 6/6 for 3. Like that seems a little extreme to me. It's got to be like Lupin Prototype. It's got to have some drawback. Like, oh, can't attack unless, can't cast unless. Like, there's got to be some major drawback, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean like Mir Superion. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah, like that card, like it's definitely got to have a drawback though. Like I mean,
it can't
might
attack unless it can't attack or block unless it's equipped.
Yeah,
3 mana,
that
6/6.
makes that could be
3
a
mana
thing.
7/5 is some kind of like affinity type thing.
Oh, I bet that's actually, wow, that's a great guess. I think, isn't there a 3 mana 5/5 that has that ability from like one of the Scars of Mirrodin? Like there was some creature very similar to that I remember from Limited. That's probably it. I think the equipment one, I'm going with that now. That's a really good guess.
Sounds like I'm going to draft like 4 of these and never pick up equipment. The return of 4 mana symbols that have each only ever been used on 2 cards before.
So this one, I think, has actually been confirmed that it's 2-brid, like the
What's
multiple
2-brid?
hybrid
like the
mana.
2/black, like Beseech the Queen type.
Beseech the Queen or like Reaper King, yeah, like that type of colorless / colored hybrid mana.
All right. Lands that come with a choice you've never had before. What? Target opponent loses the game. Like, what choice is this?
I
mean,
this could be though like the Zendikar basics or whatever. Like not like Halimar Depths and stuff like that, but like with 2 abilities instead of like it could be Scry and something else when it enters the battlefield.
I think this probably confirms or at least suggests that the rumors about flip lands could be true. Because which side to play it, face up or face down, that's a choice you never had before on a land. And that's one of the like rumors that's been going around about the land cycle. So I think it's probably that.
If it's that, that's going to be pretty sweet. Like
it definitely seems
like a dual
like
land, right? Like it could be a dual land too, right? Like play this side if you want to island or play this side if you want to swamp.
Basically, yeah. Like that's what the rumor has been. Like you get to choose which side to play. One side's an island, one side's a swamp. Who knows what the details would be, but that would be kind of interesting. I think it would be pretty powerful, especially for aggro. Like assuming it comes into play on tap, that seems like a good land cycle.
Pretty much a dual land.
Yeah.
Targeted enchantment removal in black.
Ooh.
Boo.
You know, this I'm excited for. Grixis finally can deal with an enchantment. No longer will you laugh at me as you sit there.
That defeats the purpose of Grixis.
No.
The number 1 attribute of Grixis is it can't deal with enchantments.
It honestly was, except for like Grixis Charm and like Farika's Libation. I'm like, you know what? Those are not real ways of dealing with it. But you're telling me now I can finally destroy the darn opposing Escantas, Sealaways, Ixalan's Bindings, stuff like that. That's sweet. Although you know that you're probably going to just lose a lot of life, right? It's going to be like twice the life of the CMC of the enchantment.
I really dislike this. I already dislike the edicts
Why?
that they've started printing.
But why, Seth? Like green already does everything. It does your tax for you. It walks your dog. It does like, it draws you cards. It counters things. It's like, why not give like finally enchantment removal? That's not even like
What is color pie?
yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel you should fix green rather than make every other color nonsensical.
Come on, ramp in other colors. Let's go.
I feel like the color pie needs to matter. Like I feel like Magic is at its best when colors matter. And I feel like part of what makes Magic awesome is not every color can do things, and some colors are better than other colors. Like that's what makes the game unique. So that's one of my problems. The other problem is people always say like, "Oh, black can't deal with enchantments." You get Thoughtseize and duress, and
No.
Black decks get
Those don't stop top
most
decks.
Sure, but it gets the least conditional answers out of any color except for blue. Like, blue gets counter spells, black gets unconditional discard spells. I think that those are extremely powerful answers. You can answer anything, you just have a timing restriction, exactly like a counter spell. Like, you can answer anything, but you have to keep leaving up mana during your opponent's turn if you want to be able to use it. So I think that the argument that black can't do it is actually, like, not really true. Black just does it in a unique black way. And I feel like being able to answer everything and having Thoughtseize, like, isn't that like busted? Like, doesn't that take away from what makes black black?
Okay, we know it's going to be bad, right? It's not going to be disenchant, but still, even at 4 mana, just like the ability to do it, like, there is some satisfaction knowing you're playing against mono black and your sideboard card is an enchantment, right? And like Seth said, all you got to do is dodge the Thoughtseize and then you're good to go. So I feel like we need that. I feel like I don't want every color to do everything. Like, I know Krim would love this, but imagine if black had a Doomblade that when it killed a creature, like, ramped. Like, say, like growth spiral, but for black, you're like, what?
It should. It should. Nice Uro, dude. I can do the same thing.
All right.
I don't know. I think that this should exist. For like, so like those exact situations where like just some colors just can't deal with an enchantment efficiently, right? And it feels nice after the last like 2 years of green doing everything.
Let me ask you this then, Krim. Should red be able to kill an enchantment?
I mean, let's it is a third of Grixis. And so, but
Chaos
like
Warp, right?
I guess, you know what? Why not at this point? Why not? Right?
So
like,
blue should get lightning bolt while we're at it.
Well, yes. Water bolt. A bolt of water will be thrown at you, and you will feel 3 damage, at least emotionally. Because...
All right. Here, I'll get Krim with this one. So red should get unconditional pyroblast, i.e.
mean,
counter
you know
spells.
What? Honestly, with how much blue has been getting dunked on in the last like 2 years of like unless paired with green, why not? Control Magic has been in a pickle for quite some time, so yeah, why not? I do think though, like in all honesty, like red, if it got enchantment removal, it could be something like CMC 2 or less, or 3 or less. I don't know, like there's a lot of ways you can definitely get around, make it a little more restricting, but at least have some ways to deal with enchantments, right? And I'm pretty sure the black enchantment removal either be like on a planeswalker, or I don't know, like some 19 mana creature, or it's gonna make me lose 3 times the life of the CMC.
I might be just an old man yelling at the clouds, but I'm not a fan of black having enchantment removal. And doubly so, like, when they first did that enchantment edict, what was that, Theros Beyond Death, Farika's Libation? If you read the article, they were like, well, we decided to give black enchantment removal, but we decided we're only giving them edicts, because that's, like, black. So we're gonna, like, slightly give black enchantment removal, but it's edicts. And that lasted, 3 sets? And now we're getting, like, targeted enchantment removal, apparently. So
but it
just pay life equal to the CMC. It's totally
it's the demonic. It's the demonic way, right? You lose. It's probably attached to the like a demon or something.
What if it's actually the demonic way? Like, remove target enchantment, you lose the game at the beginning of your next upkeep.
Oh, come on.
I will take that, right? Like, you sell your soul to kill an enchantment.
That's fine.
It's a very black thing to do. Just throw everything away for 1 turn of glory.
Honestly,
I guess
maybe
like a
with
red thing to do.
Black can kill so many things, though, right? Why not? Let it just kill an enchantment. Let it kill an artifact.
Or like lose half your life. I could see that. That was old school black downside. Lose half your life, round it up or something.
It's probably seriously. I really do think it's just going to be you lose life equal to the CMC, and it's going to be like 15 mana or some high costing mana.
We'll see. If it's anywhere near a black disenchant, I'm going to be even more disappointed.
All right.
So hopefully it's bad.
Black Disenchant is disappointing, but what about all the other things going on? There's still Uro.
A red/white creature with a line of rules text that starts with whenever and ends with draw a card. This
Whenever
sets
you
Boros commander.
Whenever you
Ooh.
equip,
I like that. Draw a
you
card.
draw a card.
Yeah. Or maybe cast an equipment. It could be like a pure steel type effect whenever an equipment enters the
It has to be
battlefield under your
cast,
control.
right? If it's like whenever you equip, you just have a pure steel paladin and ping pong your things and just win with Thassa's Oracle on the spot. Like,
I mean, maybe, but not in standard. Because
Unless it's got a mana cost. If it's like whenever you equip, you can pay 1 or 2 or something.
Still
then it
seems
would probably
pretty
be
good.
fine.
I mean, think about it. Then like you have Nahiri come. It'll probably be like 2 or 3 mana, and then you curve right into a Nahiri.
yeah.
So do we think that equipments are going to be like a major theme of this set? I feel like we talked about Nahiri. Now we've gone through these hints. Are equipments going to be good for like the first time ever?
None of these hints have anything to do with equipment. We've just tacked equipment onto them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We've kind of made that ourselves, and then we're gonna be let down when it has nothing to do with equipments.
I mean, if this
Or
set has
Seth will,
living
at
weapon.
least.
Wait, living weapon was
Not
Mirrodin, right?
Mirrodin, yeah.
That was Mirrodin, yeah.
Like living weapon could be a way that this could actually work. But with a living weapon, I feel like it's pretty hard to play equipment.
I'd
decks.
love to see Living Weapon again. I'm being honest with you. I think that'd be really cool.
Or what if they do just more equip for free? Like, is that enough?
Whoa.
Like, no, I mean, like, when it enters the battlefield, like, you still gotta equip it the second time, but kind of like Embercleave, where you kind of get a discount, almost, if you're putting in a player, like, oh, when it enters the battlefield, equips to a creature, then you have to pay the equip cost after that creature dies, or if you want to move it.
like Embercleave. I think it'll be played on, like, a single equipment, but that doesn't really make an equipment Voltron deck viable, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. So you think it's gotta come along with a creature?
Yeah.
But then don't you risk having it be too good? Like, Batterskull's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I mean, unless you can make like a Bogles deck, like if there's an actual 1-mana 1/1 hexproof, then maybe you can load up your deck with equipment and like get somewhere.
I mean, Shadow Spear exists for a reason.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can't even do that. So I just can't see a deck where you have like 4 equipments and you open a hand and you're like, yes, this is exactly where I want them. Like, what would that be?
I would rather have Black Disenchant than Slippery Boggle in Standard, honestly.
First off, Black Disenchant is not that bad. Second,
I feel Bogles isn't that impressive. We have 4 mana wraths again. You just wrath the board. You're good. Like,
well, it's
not
never
that
just
scary.
is it heroic intervention in the format?
Yeah,
It's
still. We have ways.
Sure, I'll draw a card. It's build your own Veil of Summer, which, by the way, heroic intervention does not give you hexproof. By the way, just reminder. No specific reason. Not because I accidentally casted it against Mangu on stream, thinking it'd protect me from a thought erasure.
Yeah, it's not quite Teferi's protection.
Yeah, just saying. Just throwing that out there for anybody that might have thought that.
All right, we have some quick hitters here, so running low on time. Rule text excerpts. 3+, different converted mana cost X or less, equal to 20 minus. Cowards can't block warriors. What's that? What's the card that cared about cowards again?
It's a red card, right? From super long ago.
Something.
There's 2 of them, right? There's like one super old one and then a new one they made recently, no?
I think
Was it a reprint?
I played in my Goad EDH deck, I think.
Is it bold we something? Oh man, I can't remember.
Boulder Intimidator. Yeah, it is
easy.
It is.
How many cards have the word coward in them?
Boulder Intimidator.
Cowards can't block warriors. Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's just a reprint of that then, or do you think we're gonna get a new card
We're
that references
gonna
it?
get a new warrior because warrior is like a thing in Zendikar, right? So the fact that cowards can't, I'm gonna make a coward deck. Like, why are these cowards? Like, who is an actual coward?
Does Pyrophobia come back? Oh, a coward legendary commander.
There aren't.
Are
there any
no
cowards?
literal cowards?
I don't believe there are. Maybe that's how we get those 5 creature types. Maybe coward is going to be like a subtype now or something.
Maybe that's but was that an alpha?
Coward ally, human vampire, whatever.
I want it's like a 5-mana 1/1. That's it. That's all it does.
Ooh.
It's a coward. Cat block.
An illusion or a blue creature that's a coward that can constantly bounce itself back to your hand.
Ooh, yeah, Norin should definitely be a coward. Like, if they can go back and errata some things to be coward, Norin is definitely the most cowardly legend in Magic.
Okay. Continuing the list. Don't lose unspent red mana. Sounds a little dangerous. Twice the number of equipment. That's actually on Nahiri. If it's the third time, something about third times.
Hedron alignment is back, but except not as bad.
And then creature types. Okay, we have a mouse. We ever had a mouse? We only had rats, right? Leviathan Crab, Shapeshifter Rogue, Demon Cleric,
yes,
Worm Horror, Hydra Horror, Cat Horror. Is this Eldrazi? Why are there so many horrors?
5 creature types, right? Lots of horrors. There's, you know what I mean? Like, come on, Eldrazi.
Didn't they say no Eldrazi? Like, didn't they actually, like, just straight up say that?
What are all these, like, cat horrors and worm horrors and Hydra horrors?
Yeah, that's...
Horror Tribal would be so sweet. Because then you have Hunted Nightmare and all that stuff already in the format, right? So you could try to go for, like, a Horror Tribal thing. But most importantly, the best thing is the Demon Cleric. I think Demon Cleric and Shapeshifter Rogue. As long as I get more rogues and more demons, I'm happy.
I think mouse is interesting. I'm pretty curious what an actual mouse card would be like.
It's probably like a Mouseketeer or something like that. That'd be cool. A fencing mouse. And it'll be legendary too, so you know you can play it as your commander.
Mouse Tribal EDH.
Yeah. Better than its cousin Rat Tribal because it's not revolving around a meme.
Oh boy, if that actually happened, then we could do like mice versus rats versus cats versus dogs for Commander Clash. That would be a good week.
Yes. Agreed.
All right. That's all of the hints Maro dropped. We don't need to speculate anymore because tomorrow we actually start getting previews. So hopefully we can start knocking some of these down. But the card I'm most excited for is the white creature that can make an opponent lose the game. I hope it's good. I hope it's playable. I hope it's something that actually triggers in standard as opposed to a 10 mana card that you might play casually. I hope it's something you can actually use to win the game with.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too, and I'm actually excited about a lot of things from this set. I really like Kicker. I think hybrid mana, the 2-brid mana is going to be cool. I like hybrid mana. A lot of things about this set are exciting, so I'm definitely hyped for it. And if you have guesses, audience, as to what these things might be referencing, definitely let us know in the comments. Anyway, Richard, we got a few minutes left. Let's get through some fish mail.
All right. If you have questions, send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail, and we'll get to your questions on air. From Javier, hello Goldfish team. Since around Arena Beta, I knew the FTP grindy model was not the most convenient for me. Now, after 1 year of Azorius and Civic Dominance, I'm pretty much done. I feel like playing is work. I've been forced to play decks I hate to keep up with quests and wins. It's so time consuming. I'm not even full FTP. So I want to go back to Moto. However, Moto seems so abandoned. What should I do? What do you guys think? We're, I guess, like 2 years since Arena came out. How is the FTP model, especially since this week there was some hurrah over the latest Mastery Pass for Zendikar?
I feel like it's actually not possible anymore. I mean, it is possible. You can play like historic, and you can play like the Boggles deck or whatever. Like, cause that one's pretty decent when it comes to wild cards. So I guess there are still some options, but like the decks that are available to you don't feel that great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can free to play Arena, but it is hard to have multiple top tier decks, especially you can build budget decks. So there are options. I haven't played a lot of other free to play games, so it's hard for me to like give my personal experience on how it compares to other games. I don't know. I would like to say just play Magic Online, but I don't know if that's the right choice either. Like, economically, it definitely is, but you lose out on all the graphics, the speed of the client. So I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know how to answer this. There's not a great way to free to play competitively on Arena, but most Magic has moved towards Arena and away from Magic Online. You can play Magic Online much cheaper, but you're not going to have the same support and all the like stuff that Wizards does tournament wise that you get on Arena. I don't know how to answer that, honestly.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because it's kind of tough, right? If you want to play Standard, I feel like is Standard popular on like Moto? Like I know people still play leagues, but like I don't know. I just feel like I if I'm playing Standard, I'd rather just play Arena, and also Arena has Historic, so like the currently right now, I mean, as long as you stray away from like the broken stuff, you're not too like worried about like getting your stuff like banned out of like Historic, right? So I guess you can keep just like build whatever you want in Historic and try to just play that for as long as you can. I mean, the Auras deck is it all comes back to some kind of like aggro strategy though. That's kind of the thing. And if you want to play like a mid-range deck, you're going to need a lot of wild cards.
I will say that Moto's definitely not abandoned. I know that's one of the things that it said in the fish mail question. Like, I still play a ton of Moto because I play older formats, and it fires consistently, quickly. So it's not abandoned in the sense that you're going to have trouble getting games or anything. So maybe use like the Card Hoarder 5-tick loan program, or spend a little bit of money on Magic Online so you can play older formats, and then that'll give you something else to do when you get tired of grinding like your one budget deck into a tier deck on Arena. So maybe the right answer is kind of like a hybrid where you spend a little bit on each, try to grind into a better collection slowly on Arena, while also having cheap decks in Pauper or Modern or whatever Commander that you can play on Magic Online when you get tired of playing Auras or Mono Red or whatever budget deck you can put together on Arena.
Yeah, I do agree that Arena makes you play Magic in ways you don't want to play. Like, I have somehow become a mono red, mono white player, which is not what I want to be doing. But if you need to get through your quests, right? Like, there is no reason to play Control. It'll take you like quadruple the amount of time to finish your quest. So there's a reason why everyone plays mono red all the time in best of one ladder, no matter what the meta is, right? It's just the fastest way to grind what you need. And also, like, daily rewards and weekly quests and things like that. Like, I've stopped doing that altogether because I just, like, I don't want to play Standard now, right? Standard is boring. I don't want to have to log in and get my, free coins. Like, forget it, right? I'll just spend $20 next release and then, buy whatever I need, as opposed to just grinding this out in a Standard I don't want to play. So, yeah, it actually does change the way you play. And I don't know how they could fix that. Like, people complain about this all the time. Like, you should incentivize something other than winning for these quests. Because also, if you need to win, you can't play your jank brews, right? Like, you actually have to play some legit deck to actually win to complete your quests. So, yeah, there's a bunch of issues with the way they're encouraging you to play. But I would like to go back to the days of not having to play aggro all the time, just because it's like simply the most efficient thing to be doing. Okay, next question. At Pal Plays, is there any chance MTGGoldfish's website is getting a dark mode theme? Every night I look at the modern meta game and cry myself to sleep when I see all the Uro and 3 fairy piles. Having a dark mode might help me get some rest. It's coming soon, very soon, maybe even today. I'm just putting the final touches on it, so we should be getting dark mode this week. So hang tight, and then you can look at Teferi and Uro in dark mode and fall asleep.
Oh, I'm excited for that too. I've wanted dark mode for a long time. That's going to be super sweet.
Ambrose Bacau won last podcast. You're talking about fixing white ramp and said mass 9 destruction goes against the spirit of commander. What do you think about reverse ramp? Each opponent sacrifices a land, or balance only for land. Would it make stacks overpowered? Isn't that still mass land destruction?
I mean, each player sacks a land wouldn't be, but yeah, balance, I think, is still mass land destruction. Each player sacks a land is probably fine. Like, I don't think that's overpowered.
I think it is overpowered, but it's just simply balanced, because the minute you cast like a pox or a small pox, like, everyone's just going to kill you. So in that sense, it's balanced, but you did kill 3 lands for like the cost of one of your lands. So I actually think it's not like I don't think they'll do a multiplayer Stone Rain ever because I still think it goes against the spirit of Commander, which is like cast your things, right?
I thought you'd be the Armageddon supporter, Richard.
I mean, I love Armageddon, but I recognize that Magic players do not have the same appreciation for the fine arts as me, right? Like, I think it's fine to like troll our group once in a while with this mass night destruction. I actually have mass night destruction like all the time. My decks, you guys don't know because I don't fire it off all the time. But like, you know, if I was to go into a random public group, I would not play any land destruction, even, you know, trolling, right? Because I know people won't have fun. Right, I just do it with us because you guys all know it. I only do it at like key moments and stuff like that. But yeah, I know people don't like this, right? You don't show up to play Commander and then sit there with no lands with all the cards in your hand, right? That's not exactly what you signed up for. Okay. EDH Academy. What if WotC announces starting with Core Set 2020, standard/reprint sets will no longer be designed with draft in mind? How much of an impact do you think it will have on a game as a whole, especially competitive Magic? Aren't those set boosters?
Yeah, that's pretty much what set booster is, right?
But I think, is that referring to like not designing sets with limited in mind?
Yeah, so basically everything's a set booster now, and there's no more.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never draft, so everything's a set booster to me.
I'm actually curious what this on Arena, what the split of constructed versus limited is, because I feel like even amongst like spiky players, like very few people play draft, right? But anytime WotC talks about anything, it seems like draft is like the most important thing ever. Like, you know, all master sets needs to be drafted. They bring back flashback drafts and things like that all the time. But I feel like only like us really old timers, like very invested people play draft. I wonder if new people actually play draft.
Yeah, I actually don't know about that either. I would say I feel like standard sets have to be designed with draft in mind. Like, I think that is a loss. Even if limited is less popular than constructed, I think not being able to have limited for the newest standard set, I think that would be a big negative for Magic. On the other hand, I also pretty strongly believe that stuff like master sets, I don't think that draft should be a big consideration for those. Like, I think the primary goal for supplemental products like master sets should be to get the reprints out there that people need. So if that means the draft format isn't as good, then so be it. Because the number one goal is to get those reprints out there.
The number one goal is to make them not look like lottery packs, to give them a purpose. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just feel most people don't play limited. So I feel if you can somehow improve standard by sacrificing limited, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And maybe like once a year or twice a year, you make like a limited set designed specifically for limited, because you always run into this issue where each format is ruined by the other. Right? Like for limited, I never want to see a rare dual land ever, right? But they always show up because of standard, right? And that like just basically ruins your whole draft when you draft like a rare dual land, because you're like, what is this? This is like a waste of a bomb slot, right? And then vice versa, things have to be mythic for limited considerations, boosting the price of it for standard, even when it doesn't need to be. So yeah, maybe if they split it somehow, they could alleviate that. All right, that's all the time we have for Fishmail this week. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. If you have questions, send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail, and we'll get to your questions on air.
And I believe that brings us to the end of episode 292 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. So, Richard Krim, thanks for hanging out. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to Tigtone for supporting the show today. And we will be back next week to talk about Zendikar spoilers and whatever else goes down in the world of Magic. Until then, have a wonderful week, and this is the crew signing out.